in case you're tuning in, my name is Nancy Quito. We are Ensemble Leonarda, and we're coming to you live from my living room in New York, because there's a little thing known as the pandemic, and it kind of makes in-person entertainment just slightly difficult. So we're streaming across several platforms. This is new to us because, as I said, in the Baroque era there weren't any microphones. So it's all new to us. I have people tuning in from all over, from Canada, Cape Cod, California. So whatever medium you're using, please comment so that we know that you're there, and also if in case there are other technical difficulties. Just a few words before we start. We're a classical music group, and the format's going to be slightly different. If you were here in person, you'd have a program, and you could read our bios and about the composers and the movement listings, but you're not. So I'm going to be speaking just a bit. So some of you are not musicians. Some of you are musicians, but not necessarily Baroque musicians. So the frequently asked questions for those of you who don't normally go to concerts, why do you need to tune so often? And so we're playing instruments that are reproductions of the period, 1685 to 1750, period instruments. And so they're made out of a lot of wood and a lot of gut, and so it's very sensitive to heat and humidity. So we have to tune a lot because we want a nice sound. And the most frequently asked question I get is if it's a trio sonata, why are 4 people playing? And that's because I play harpsichord, this thing Lurch plays. So if you play a note, the sound decays immediately. And then the other bass instrument, the cello, or gamba, it sustains, but they can't necessarily play chords. So you have 3 lines, and they're counting us 2 as 1 line. It's kind of like Mr. Spock and the Vulcan mind meld, like 2 people, 1 mind. So that's how that goes. So anyway, we're going to start now with a little piece for the Viola Del Morae by a guy named Attilio Ariosti. And we're good.
We're good.
Okay. And so here we go. Attilio Ariosti. He was an Italian composer from Bologna, and he was actually a musical friar. It wasn't just Vivaldi, religion and music. So this is Dan McCarthy, and he is playing a Viola Del Morae. And can you tell us a little bit about, this is one of your 5 questions about you, what about the Viola Del Morae?
Sure. Well, this is a Viola Del Morae, or Viola of Love. So a lot of that sort of has to do just with the quality of sound of this instrument. The distinguishing feature, and I don't know how well you can see this, there are actually a set of what are called sympathetic strings, or strings that I don't play, but they just vibrate sympathetically to the notes that I'm bowing on these top strings right here. So it sort of gives this lovely ethereal silver resonance to it. Probably one of the best quotes I've ever heard about this instrument is from Leopold Mozart, who describes it as being particularly sweet in the stillness of the night. Yeah, and it comes in 12 and 14 string variations. This is 12 strings because it's a little easier.
I mean, it's hard enough with Baroque instruments to keep in tune, so 12 strings, God bless you.
Yeah.
The sympathetic strings is like souping up your car for the Indy 500, you know, just that little oomph. So Dan, since we don't have a program with bios, a little bit about you. So you're obviously Dan McCarthy, and you play, besides Viola Del Morae, you play what?
I play violin, I play viola, I play viola da gamba.
Oh.
I'm based here in New York. I'm very happy to be playing this instrument with Nancy.
Where did you study?
I studied at Juilliard. That's where I learned to play all of these instruments. And I've been here ever since. I play these instruments. I import and sell strings from Italy, specifically these gut strings. And I'm a literal Renaissance man.
Yes, thank you. Oh, wow. Anything else? What other hobbies do you have?
Oh, I have a 10-month-old.
Oh, okay. That's a lifetime hobby in itself. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Oh, so moving along, the next piece on the program is it's a trio sonata with 4 people. It's by Louis Antoine Dornel. So it's a suite. So back in the Baroque era, there was dance, like people outside of MTV. You would go to a country house and you would dance. Come on. You would go to country house and dance. So like I can play a minuet, I can't dance it. But you know, like when you think Jane Austen and Mr. Darcy and Elizabeth, right? So they would go and do all these dances, and eventually it morphed into a strictly instrumental dance suite. So there are a lot of movements in this one. Short. There's the prelude, so the thing that starts us off. The allemande. Allemande is the French word for German. The sarabande, which is a slow, stately dance. Originally started off very sensual and fast, and the church kind of frowned on that, so they kind of slowed it down. Gigue, think the French word for jig, the English jig. Menuet en rondo, and then the passacaille. So a bunch of movements, all wonderful. I play also organ, and so it's kind of neat. On organ I play German Baroque, and so here I get to play all this lovely French music. So there we go. Let's like find my music. One second. from before. Claire, excuse me. 5 things about Claire Smith Birmingham violin. And you play violin. What else do you play? A little bit of piano as well, yes?
Oh, no, I wouldn't say I do.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I do. But I play modern violin. I play early music. I run my own ensemble, of which Dan is also a member. And what else? I also have a child. I have a 2.5-year-old daughter who I hope is watching. You'll see.
And where did you go to school? Where did you
I went to
study?
school I got my master's in music at Boston Conservatory, and then when I moved to New York, after some years of being here, I studied early music with Judson Griffin, who was a very important mentor in my life. And I play on one of his old instruments. This is an instrument that is a 1740 German instrument
Nice.
by a maker named Klotz. And I have a lot of different types of bows. We play with different bows in this pursuit. And this is my short bow, which is really great for
Tight
this.
spaces like this.
Yeah,
Yes.
tight spaces.
It's a little.
And French music.
Yeah. The other little known fact about Claire, you also played with Richie Blackmore. Talk about Blackmore's Night.
I play with a rock band also.
Yes.
Which is kind of a weird mix of rock and Renaissance music. So it actually
For those of you,
goes well with early music.
for those of you not of a certain age, explain who Richie Blackmore was.
Oh, Richie Blackmore was he's a very famous guitarist who worked with Deep Purple and Rainbow and in the 70s and was a big heavy metal guitarist.
Yes. Okay. Just an interesting star. Yeah, she is a rock star. Yes. And let's see. So we'll get ready for the next piece. If you're watching on Instagram, I'm hoping it's still up. I can't see from this far away, but come on in, Dan. The next piece is also featuring the Viola Del Morae. It is a trio sonata, D minor. Christoph Graupner, who was a German composer, contemporary of Handel and Bach, and all that sort of good stuff. Yeah, I was quite excited. I'm a conservatory graduate. I've never really seen Del Morae up close. It was quite fascinating the other day. So, let's see. I feel like I'm talking through a wind tunnel in these masks. It's like, oh my God. Let's see.
Right here, D minor.
D minor. playing, I can know you're out there, I just can't see you. Before we get to the last part of it, let's see, Susan. Yes, 5 things about you, or some things about you. You obviously are Susan, you play the flute.
I have to get my notes because I wrote my 5 things down. Did you want to ask me any questions, Nancy?
No, you can go for it.
All right. I'm a graduate of the Peabody Conservatory, which is where I met Nancy. It is also where I met my husband of 28 years, and we have 2 adult kids. And I got my master's at Mason Gross School of the Arts. The flute that I am playing now, so I play modern flute, and I studied with the great Robert Willoughby at Peabody, and no one else matters after that. Oh, that's not true, but
Yeah.
he really was the best. My flute is a copy of a Willem Bijker's flute. He was a Dutch flute maker from the 1700s, and this one is a copy made in boxwood by Simon Pollock, who is from Holland. I do a lot of performing in my native New Jersey, so I had to cross the river to get here, and I do a lot of private lessons as well, and I'm also a founding member of this ensemble with Nancy. And for fun, I like to sew and hike, and I'm learning how to play the Irish flute. And I love winter weather, the colder the better, and I am not apologizing about that.
So since I'm going to take it in rounds now, so then Cullen is...
Yes, hi. I'm Cullen. I'm from Michigan originally, Kalamazoo, Michigan. And I did my undergraduate at University of Michigan, Ann Arbor. And then I came here to do the master's program in historical performance at Juilliard right before the pandemic hit.
Oh my god.
And then so I've been here for like 2.5 years or so. Music-wise,
You just graduated from Juilliard,
yeah, I
right?
just graduated from that program back in May. Yeah. Music-wise, I play a lot of classical music on period instruments with my quartet. And trying to get better at gamba.
It's really funny with these concerts, like she and I are always sitting where they're like, oh, we gotta stand up, and everybody who's standing is like, oh, we gotta sit down. Yeah, and then lastly, that would be me. Obviously, I'm Nancy Quito. Yes, I play harpsichord, that thing Lurch plays. I also play organ, because as you can see, I'm kind of short, right? Napoleon complex, touch of a button, lots of power. That would be me. Yes, other things about me, I went to school at New York University. My degrees are in French and in classics, ancient Greek and Roman history. I was always fascinated by mythology, even in first grade. Then I went to Peabody Conservatory, which is where I met Susan. My degree was organ performance with a minor in harpsichord, because you don't really get to play that group experience on an organ. And then I went to the Francophone University of Montreal to study harpsichord. And the other 2 fun facts about me, I play both basketball and tennis, and you're there like, your hands! And then I would just remind you that Joshua Bell, the famous violinist, also is a pretty mean basketball player. And my favorite author is Charles Dickens, David Copperfield. All right, so we're coming up to the last piece on the program, which is a trio by Michel Corrette, and 3 movements, Allegro, Adagio, Allegro. Thank you so much for tuning in. Like I said, please leave comments, questions. I'll get back to you. I hope you've enjoyed it. This is our first virtual concert. I need a glass of wine, but after we've played this last piece. I would also like to thank our technical producer, Jasmine Stewart, who's been operating all the cameras and making sure we're good to go, because I'm up here playing. Yes. So without further ado, we go to the last piece. Thank you. Tuning. coming. Thank you so much. And 3, 2, 1, we're off. Thank you.
That was fun.
I'm sorry, I have to turn off Instagram. I don't know if that worked. No? Okay. Yep. I have no idea what any of that looked like, but thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
very fun.
Oh my god. It's so weird because like you.
Yeah.
I know when it's over, we're just like, wait,
Yeah.
I'm used to some sound happening right now. Even just like polite applause.
3, 2, 1, yeah, bye. No, really, thank you. It's a lot.
Yeah.
Thank you.